Hello and welcome to Open, the show opening the Bronx and the rest of the world to you. I'm Kyrie Moody filling in for Darren Jaime, and today we'll update you on what's happening in our borough and New York City. Coming up, a new affordable housing development is in the Bronx already making an impact, bringing jobs, supporting local businesses, and investing millions into the community, even before opening its doors. We'll take a closer look at the recent economic report on the project and what it means for the borough. Next, through Girl Scouts of Greater New York, young girls are building confidence, leadership, and hands-on skills to set goals and achieve success at a young age. We'll learn more about the impact of this organization. Then a powerful film festival is giving young creators a platform to share their voices through short films that explore important issues. We'll break down what to expect from this event and the mission behind it. Lastly, we'll learn more about how a Bronx native entrepreneur is transforming a simple creative idea into a growing brand that combines handmade products, sustainable practices, and a strong commitment to the community. So stay tuned. All of this and much more is headed your way because we're now officially open. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I'm Kyrie Moody, and you are now watching Open, a program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. You can stay connected to us on all social media platforms at Bronxnet TV. Some things have been going on throughout this past week. We'll take you through it with some Bronx updates. The Bronx started one of its most anticipated annual traditions with the official press conference for Bronx Week 2026. This year's celebration highlights the borough's rich culture and showcases local success stories to inspire the next generation. Our reporter Ashley DeLeon has the story.
The Bronx is gearing up for one of the biggest celebrations of the year.
Bronx Week, Bronx Strong, Bronx League.
The Bronx Week 2026 press conference is officially in the books, and leading the celebration is a familiar face to many through her work on Alma's Way.
The Bronx is an amazing place to me. It means so much. I grew up in the Bronx. I'm Puerto Rican and Nicaraguan. And for all these achievements, just for me to represent the Bronx, it's a place of culture. It's a place of music and hip hop. And I'm here today because I want to represent the Bronx. And we need to show people how powerful we can be and all the stories that we have to tell.
The press conference was held at Storyland in the South Bronx, a fitting backdrop for an event with the next generation front and center.
To be selected as a place where the press conference for Bronx Week is going to be held, it is the biggest deal in our borough and our city because the Bronx Borough President, Vanessa L. Gibson, always looks to highlight and showcase something dope that our community can come to and support. And we're so grateful that this year she chose Storyland.
Students from the School of Finance and Technology were also in the room.
It was super inspiring to hear the stories of all these people here, their journeys of how they became at the top of their game wherever they are. And I think it's just super inspiring to see the great sides of the Bronx that so many people need to talk about so much more.
The borough president also announced this year's Bronx Walk of Fame inductees. Music executive Lenny S. Santiago, WNBC anchor Darlene Rodriguez, Roberto Escanio, also known as Phantom, and actor and choreographer Darren Henson. The four honorees will be celebrated at the Bronx Ball on May 16th. From parades to performances, everyone is invited to come out and celebrate what the Bronx has to offer. Reporting for Bronxnet, Ashley DeLeon.
Thank you, Ashley. In other news, local organizations are teaming up in the Bronx to provide life-saving water safety skills to youth in underserved communities. The Swim 1922 initiative aims to increase equitable access to swim education and build confidence in the water. Our reporter Chris Camella brings the story.
A couple of local organizations are making a big splash in a Charlotte Gardens community center. Here at the Common Point Bronx Center, a safety water initiative is underway, teaching underserved communities about what it means to have fun in the water while also learning life-saving skills.
I think it's an important life skill that we should all have.
Bronx youth, some as young as 4 years old, are earning their water wings today. The Sigma Gamma Rho sorority, or Sig Rho, created Swim 1922, their proclaimed signature water safety initiative, named after the year the sorority was founded. This East Coast program centers around bringing more equitable access to swim education. Currently, they operate across Charlotte, North Carolina, Washington, D.C., and New York City, collaborating with nonprofit social services organization Common Point at their Bronx location.
It's a very important life skill that I think all kids should have exposure to, especially because I know in the summer times we have a lot of vacations or trips where it's around large bodies of water, so that the parents know and have their kids be safe.
USA Olympic swimmer Natalie Hines, one of today's instructors and a member of Sig Rho, lends a hand in teaching how to stay cool, calm, and afloat in the water. A mission, she says, that supports her sorority's guiding principle of greater service, greater progress.
They make me so happy. I get to share my story of my love for the water, and also we get to teach people how to swim, something that I know historically there's a lot of tension around, there's a lot of apprehension around, and so part of my own personal mission is to lower those barriers of entry into our sport and to learn how to swim.
I hope they take away a love of the water. Historically, there has just been this fear of water, and we just want kids to just be comfortable and know that they can be seen no matter where they are and how they swim.
The event also features family activities through local community organizations. Sig Rho's Bronx chapter and Common Point consistently dive into ways to amplify their public health initiatives. Today's setup reflects how swimmingly those efforts are going.
We've really decided to come up with programming that is going to impact our community, right? So we were all born and raised in the Bronx. A lot of us went off to college, came back to the Bronx, and we really care about making change.
In Crotona, Chris Camella, Bronxnet.
Thank you, Chris. That's all for the Bronx updates. We have to take a quick break, but we'll have more open when we return.
There's a new channel to explore, and it's bringing the classics back to life. During the day, relive the Bronxnet originals that sparked conversations and built community. At night, dive into the hip-hop throwbacks that defined a generation. One destination, two powerful lineups. Now playing on Optimum Channel 952, Fios 2138, and streaming at bronxnet.tv. BX Legacy, where history meets the moment.
Welcome back. A major new housing development in the Highbridge section of the Bronx is not only addressing the need for affordable and supportive housing, but also generating significant economic impact during construction. A new report highlights millions already flowing into the local economy through job creation, local hiring, and investment in small businesses. Joining us to discuss the project and its impact is Mikel Netburn, President and CEO of Samaritan Daytop Village. Thank you so much for joining us, Mikel.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me about Samaritan Daytop Village.
Sure. Samaritan Daytop Village is over 65 years in existence, and we provide a huge range of services for people with various challenges, whether homelessness, mental health issues, substance use, older adults, youth with behavioral health issues, you name it. And our mission is to improve lives by helping people help themselves. We have facilities in all 5 boroughs of New York City and surrounding counties, and almost 30 programs in the Bronx itself.
Wow, and what is this new housing development that you guys are developing?
It's really exciting. We are developing a building in the Highbridge section of the Bronx. It is just north of the bridge itself, Highbridge, and when it's completed in a little over a year, it'll have a total of 422 units. 316 of those will be permanent housing for what's referred to as affordable housing and supportive housing, and additionally there'll be 106 units for large families who are unhoused.
Wow, and why that section of the Bronx?
Well, we haven't owned that piece of property since the early 80s.
Wow.
And so we were able to build, this relatively large building to meet the affordable housing crisis that's in New York City, as well as the crisis around homeless issues. And sort of in one place, we can help address both of those.
And you guys have been helping thousands of people. What are some current issues that you guys see when it comes to housing? Do people come to you guys concerning housing issues?
Absolutely. I mean, there's an affordable housing crisis, not just in New York City, but really, almost everywhere in the world. And so many of our clients, when they finish treatment programs or they get their job and they're ready to find housing, they just can't afford it. And it's really, really, so frustrating because they've done all the work and just can't afford what the rents. And so one of the aims of this building is to be able to have them live in a wonderful location in a beautiful state-of-the-art building that's very green and healthy with lots of outdoor space and rooftop gardens that they can afford.
Wow, and just tell me a little bit about some of the amenities that come with it. These buildings now are getting more and more fancy. They got pools, some of them got gyms. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. We have 3 rooftop gardens. One will be urban farming, teach people about that, healthy eating, which is so important. It is on a large piece of property. We have lots of walkways where people can walk and exercise, areas where the kids can play. We will have a community space in the building that to be determined, but it'll either be a daycare or maybe a licensed medical clinic. There will be a place for people to have bicycles, a small gym, but most importantly, a beautiful, safe place for people to live that also will enhance the local community.
Wow, and let's talk about the money aspect of it, the economic report that you guys recently came out with. Tell me
Sure.
about that.
Yeah, people usually talk about these buildings when they're all done. There's a ribbon cutting. We want to talk about the impact it's having while we're constructing it. And so, we have done a study, and already there's been $23 million that has gone into the local community. About close to $6 million has gone to local businesses in the Bronx. And majority of that actually to businesses in the South Bronx, where this is located. In addition, there's roughly 350 to 400 people working in this building every single day. We estimate that they're spending about $35,000 a week in local restaurants, bodegas, convenience stores, you name it. So there's a tremendous, impact already that's happening. Most of those workers, over half of them live in the Bronx, most in the South Bronx. We're very proud of that fact. And so, there's already been a major impact in the local community, even before it's opened.
Well, I like that, the Bronx building the Bronx. So
I'd like that line.
Tell me about, talk about, will residents be able to come to you guys to get into the building? How's that process looking? Where do you have to go to get into
For the transitional housing, also known as shelter, that people have to apply through the city. They make that determination. For the units, there will be a lottery. That's the way these things work. And so people have to be eligible for those units. There'll be a lottery, which we have an outside group conduct, so it's all fair. But we know a lot of people are going to want to live in this building.
And then looking ahead to 2027, what will success look like for Highbridge, not just for residents, but for the Bronx as a whole?
Sure. So, the residents, as I said, it'll be a wonderful, beautiful space for them to be in. There's great views from there. There'll be a lot of services on site. We estimate that we'll employ about 100 people once it's open. Our preference is always to hire people from local communities, so that's an impact down the road, which will be lasting. And those services will help people with job skills, with any issues that come up in their lives. So there'll be staff on site to help people maintain that housing and to be good citizens and good neighbors. Also for the community, those people are going to be spending a lot of money in that community, and so that'll be add to that as well. As I said, we have community spaces; those will be open to the community, and it's a spectacular looking building, and it's a very green building. It's what's referred to as passive house. So it means it's really a state-of-the-art building. And shows that people can live there. And I think, as you know, there's high rates of asthma in the Bronx. This building, is going to help contribute to sort of a healthier environment for the residents and the community. A lot of the green spaces and things like that. So it'll have a very lasting impact on the Bronx once it's completed. But it already is, and that's what we're here today to talk about. That. It's already had a major positive impact on the community in the Bronx.
Nice. And what about like the people that live in the shelters and things like that? Like, will they be able to move into the building? Do they have like a certain section for them? How does that look?
They won't, really have a preference for that building. I'm sure many of them will want to because it'll be right next door. But again, we place them in places where they can. If there are available units and they qualify and they're eligible, they certainly can go there. But the permanent housing, 316 apartments, those will be really for people from not just from the shelter by any means.
Okay, nice. And tell me, when you guys say you guys are developing, what does that exactly mean? Are you guys doing the whole look of the building? Do you guys come up with the floor plans and things like that?
Yeah. So pretty much all that. So first of all, we had owned this property, as I said, since the early '80s. The total cost of this building is $335 million. It's a lot of money. It's a big building. So developing means that we applied to both the City of New York, the State of New York, as well as to other entities, Citibank, Richmond Housing, and others to help us get the funding for this.
Nice.
And so we got the funding. We did a competitive process to pick the architect, the same thing for the contractor, and then, as you said, the floor plans, the amenities, how it's going to look. We were also mindful that it's next to a historic bridge, and so we wanted to build a building that's not just beautiful, but respect that. So we try to keep it as far away from the bridge as we could, and it has angles so that it has a minimal impact. But it is a spectacular building that lots of people will see a year because there's nothing to the west of it, and we think it'll become a beacon for the Bronx, and that it will really be a showcase, and people will notice it and see that. And the Bronx is going through a revitalization, and we think this will be a piece of that as well.
And just talk about a little bit about the importance of that. We've been having so much fires going on. Buildings are falling down, collapsing. Why is it necessary, and why is it such a good time for Daytop, Samaritan Daytop, to come in and build this building with green space and other amenities for community members?
I mean, as you said, there's both the affordable housing crisis, but buildings are, in disrepair. They're not being fixed. There's unscrupulous landlords. And again, what we want to be is a model for other nonprofits as well as for for-profit developers, that you can build these type of buildings for affordable and supportive housing, for shelters. You can do them. They can be beautiful. They can be green. It can be done. It's just a matter of having the will to do that and the vision. And we're hoping that this will be replicated. Again, we talked about the asthma rates in the Bronx. This is a green building. We hope there'll be more of those. Incredibly energy efficient. We also hope it'll spur, maybe local businesses in the Bronx to get into manufacturing or selling, energy efficient windows and things like that. But I think this shows that it can be done, and the people that are going to live in their building deserve nothing less than that. And we're just so proud that we had all these great partners from government and others to be able to build this building.
Well, thank you so much, Mitchell. That was really great. We look forward to the building opening in 2027.
Great. We'll invite you to the ribbon cutting.
Yes, definitely invite us, definitely. For more information, you can visit the website at SamaritanVillage.org. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Open right after this.
We are the Echo Leaders.
We learned that everything starts with ourselves. Then we have to educate ourselves. Then we have to build community and use our imagination.
There's a new channel to explore, and it's bringing the classics back to life. During the day, relive the Bronxnet originals that sparked conversations and built community. At night, dive into the hip-hop throwbacks that defined a generation. One destination, two powerful lineups. Now playing on Optimum Channel 952, Fios 2138, and streaming at bronxnet.tv. BX Legacy, where history meets the moment.
Welcome back. Young girls are building confidence, developing leadership skills, and learning how to set and achieve their goals through Girl Scouts of Greater New York. Joining us to talk about how the organization is empowering the next generation of leaders is Marta Escobar, Volunteer Experience Specialist at Girl Scouts of Greater New York. Thank you so much for joining us, Marta.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about Girl Scouts of Greater New York.
So Girl Scouts of Greater New York is an organization that was founded in 1912 by Julia Gordon Low and has spread worldwide. Here at New York City, we provide the girls with a safe space to be themselves, feel empowered through different career paths, exposing them to the outdoors, exposing them to STEM-related opportunities and career paths, teaching them a sense of self-awareness, and becoming strong members of their community by giving back to the community through community service opportunities.
Nice. And you know, I'm pretty sure Girl Scouts, when we think about Girl Scouts, we think about selling cookies, right? But I'm pretty sure there's so much more to being a Girl Scout. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you teach them, especially when it comes to community engagement?
So when it comes to community engagement, we teach them about making our community a better place, which is part of our law. And part of that is ways we can make our environment and our communities better, whether it's something as simple as creating a compost where people learn how to reuse our natural resources, or something as big as putting a vote together to put a stop sign on the corner of a street that might have, you know, lots of accident rates going high in the neighborhood. It teaches them their voice. It teaches them that they can do anything, that there's no such thing as the word can't, as long as they put their mind and trial and tribulation, trying until you succeed in life.
Wow. And you've been a Girl Scout yourself. How has Girl Scouts helped you and shape you who you are today?
Well, myself, I've been a Girl Scout actually since I was 7 years old.
Wow.
I finished the program when I was 16. It taught me how to become a leader, how to speak my voice. It taught me my love for children and the sense of coming back and giving back to the next generation to come. I had a strong team of leaders who guided me, mentored me, and taught me that I could do anything.
Wow. And what's the relation with Girl Scouts and cookies, you know?
So with Girl Scouts and Girl Scout cookies, that's one of the biggest programs that we do with the girls, which teaches them their entrepreneurship skills. It teaches them how to manage money. It teaches them how to deal with the public and tough situations. It teaches them how to set goals, how to measure those goals, and how to obtain those goals, and set a goal where they get a reward at the end and they get to choose what they want to do with their money. And it's girl-led, so their voice really counts.
Wow. So they get to choose what they want to do with their money. What?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. You know, what inspired you to stay and, you know, give back as a leader of the Girl Scouts?
Well, because of the relationships that I had with the leaders that I studied under, it taught me that it's important to give back for the future of tomorrow. The children here in New York City, being that we're living in a city that's so diverse, and it can be overwhelming for children at times. Sometimes that adult leader mentorship pushes you to go beyond your limits and lets you know things that you never knew before. And it taught me that it's important to give back, where future generations to come, they're going to give back, whether it's immediately right after they finish the program, whether after they finish college, or even when they become a mother themselves and have their own children.
Wow. And how is Girl Scouts advertised? Is it in schools? How do they learn about the program, or how to be a Girl Scout?
So we have many platforms on where we publicize the Girl Scouts. We do have our website, which is girlscouts.org, where people can go to learn about the program, how to join, how to give back, become a Girl Scout themselves or a volunteer. I myself, in my position, I navigate the neighborhoods of Queens because I'm the supervisor of Queens, and I connect with schools and leaders and organizations like churches or community centers to offer our program where we can give back to the community and the girls can have a safe space to belong and learn about becoming something more important in the future.
And what would you say to anybody that's interested in becoming a Girl Scout? Like, what is the preparation like, or what should they be prepared for? What should they expect?
In reference to a girl becoming a Girl Scouts, you get to become part of an organization and a group of girls where you can belong with one another. You learn sistership, you learn family skills, you learn entrepreneurship skills, you learn life skills, simple things like making a table, making a meal, self-awareness, health care, mental health issues, which is something that's very big in this city. And then on the adult path, you learn how to guide kids, be somebody who they can look up to, leading by example, pushing them in the right path where they're not pulled away through distractions where we have going on all over the city. And being a child is very hard nowadays. Yeah. So the program does gear them to let them know that they can. And with our guidance, we're here to push them in the right path. You don't need any, per se, experience, but you just have to have the passion to want to influence children to do the right thing with their life and stay focused.
And what's the age limit for a Girl Scout? When can they begin and when does it end?
So they start off at a kindergarten level, which is 5 years old, and it goes all the way until they're 18.
Okay.
And then they can come back as an adult and become a volunteer once they graduate from high school.
Nice. And just tell me about the selling process. You know, back in the day, it was door to door. You know, we have virtual now. We have a whole bunch of technology now. Is it still door to door, or do you guys have other ways?
So it's more of a preference. Okay. When it comes to selling cookies, if the parents feel comfortable with door to door, they would accompany their child to go door to door and sell. Versus where on the digital platform, you have many ways to sell through an app, through social media. Also, we have something called cookie booths where we post up in front of businesses and we sell cookies that way. So there's many platforms on how to sell these cookies, but it's all about teaching the girls how to manage money, count money, set goals, and, you know, do great things with their money, even giving back to the community.
Nice. And just tell me about your outfit that you got on today. I see a whole bunch of pendants and things like that. Tell me, what does that represent?
So this here is the number of my troop. I actually am a volunteer troop leader too for the first community-based unique abilities troop in Queens. This is the crest of our troop, which is the unicorn, which represents us because we are a unique abilities troop. And then this is the insignia for our council, the American flag. This is our World Association pin and our trefoil pin. And then this is just inspiring to sell cookies and the back. So it's business in the front for the girls when they earn their badges. It's business in the front. And whenever they do anything fun, we have patches that go in the back, and it's fun in the back.
Nice. And you know, with so much going on with our children, you did mention it is hard being a young adult now or a young child now. You know, why should we push Girl Scouts, programs like Girl Scouts, more to our children and our youth today?
Well, it's important to push Girl Scouts in the world that we live in today because it teaches, as I said before, it teaches the girls to have a voice and know that no matter where they come from or their background, that they have a place to belong and that they can become somebody in their life and that there aren't limitations. Limitations are set on oneself, but we have to learn how to break those barriers, and Girl Scouts allows them to break those barriers, do things that they never imagined they could do before.
Nice. And how does what is the role of volunteers when it comes to volunteering?
So when it comes to volunteers, there's no real experience necessary. You just have to have the passion and the drive to want to inspire these children that are going to give back in the future of tomorrow. We do have trainings that we put forth to mentor them and let them know what they need to know, the in and outs of how to run the troop, how to deal with the girls, the ratio of girls to children, and what they can do with them. We also give them a digital platform where they have the curriculum aligned with all the badges that the girls can earn and different things related to cookies and etc.
Is being a Girl Scout free, or do you have to pay?
So being a Girl Scout does have a fee. Currently, our membership fee is at $65. That just recently went up. On a volunteer level, it's $30. But we do have circumstances where, on a circumstance basis, we do have financial aid where we pay partial for the girls. And then sometimes we have outside organizations that come in and fund us and pay for the girls overall. So it all depends on the dynamics. We also have something called Troop 6000, which is our biggest troop in New York City, which offers a program for all the girls in the shelter system to give them an opportunity to belong as well.
And what would you say to families that want to join Girl Scouts?
I would say that it's a great opportunity that shouldn't be passed up. And everybody's here to belong, to be a community, to be a family, and you won't be disappointed on what comes out of your girls in the future with career paths. Education is important, life skills, all this that will become strong women and possible future leaders.
Nice. And what's your favorite cookie?
My favorite cookie is the Samoa.
Okay.
I'm a coconut fan, so yes.
Oh, okay. I think I know which one you're talking about. I'm not too big on coconut, though.
Yes.
But okay. And where can we go for more information?
So for more information, as I said before, you would go to girlscouts.org, and there you can find information on how to become a volunteer, how to sign up. We have troops all over the 5 boroughs in New York City. You just plug in a zip code, and it'll give you all the troops that are near you, different time frames and days of the weeks that they meet. And ultimately, once you fill out the inquiry, customer service will get back to you and help you and walk you along the way to connect you to the right troop that's for you.
Nice. And is anything big coming up for Girl Scouts this year? Do you guys have like an annual event that you guys come together and
So we do have a
celebrate?
couple events coming up in the near future. The most closest one coming up here in the Bronx is our Girl Scout Day at Yankee Stadium.
Nice.
The girls will be spotlighted. They get to walk the field. And we do have our top cookie seller who will be at the home plate starting off the game. That's coming up. Then we have our Woodlawn Memorial Day ceremony where we'll put flags on the graves of our lost soldiers. Nice. And also we have our national conference that's coming up in the month of July. And for the second year going, we will be part of the National Puerto Rican Day Parade.
Wow, nice. Well, thank you so much, Marta.
Thank
That
you
was
for
great
having me.
information. Thank you. For more information, visit the website at girlscoutsnyc.com. We got more here on Open right after the break.
19.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
Welcome back. A new generation of storytellers is taking the lead and shaping how we understand and talk about mental health. The Changing Minds Young Filmmaker Festival, presented by Community Access, brings together short films created by young people and designed to inspire change. Joining us to preview this year's festival and what attendees can expect is Mikel Morado, festival organizer and community outreach coordinator. Thank you so much for being here, Mikel.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about this film festival that's coming up.
Yeah, Changing Minds is a film festival for filmmakers between 15 and 25. Filmmakers from all over the world, but primarily in New York City. And their films are typically subjected around things like mental health, but can include things like race and social justice, mental health advocacy, queerness, gender. And all of our filmmakers work hard to create these films that they propose to us, and then we have a selection process for our festival screening. This year our festival screening is on Saturday, May 16th in the East Village.
Nice. And you know, you guys are celebrating your 11th anniversary.
Yeah.
What does this milestone mean to Changing Young Minds?
Yeah, so 11 years is huge for us. Changing Minds has survived the pandemic, where we actually moved to an online component that has continued today. It's called Film Fridays, that exists on YouTube.
Nice.
But for the past 11 years, we have seen an influx of filmmakers that are interested in being part of the festival. The quality of films has only, risen and climbed over those years. And as our 11th year, this is the most submissions that we've seen from filmmakers. We're happy to accept films from New York, from Spain, Belgium, China, all over the United States. So 11 is a big number for us.
Wow. And you know, what are some of the things that you guys look for when people submit their films? You know, you guys are targeted around mental health. So kind of talk about like, what does that process look like?
Yeah, so the great thing about films being primarily set around mental health is that can entail so many things for young people. Primarily, it involves narratives and storytelling through narrative that's nonfiction, but also we've seen films that are documentaries, that are animated. So as far as the films that we're seeing and what we're looking for, we're just looking for young people that are passionate about what they're trying to communicate, with clear messaging that surrounds their own experiences or the experiences of others.
Wow. And why mental health? Why have that target area?
Yeah, so Changing Minds is hosted by Community Access, which is a mental health-driven nonprofit here in New York City. We serve New Yorkers for housing and health services. So mental health is already within the workings of what we do. And as far as involving young people, their mental health is more and more increasingly critical to their success and to the success of our communities. So we like to look for films that are being made in real, honest ways, and it's very easy to find that from folks that are young.
Wow. And you know, what is the start time of submission, and then what is the deadline?
So typically we start to see submissions coming in the fall.
Okay.
And it usually runs through about February, where we have a couple of weeks of a selection process, and then we have our screenings every year in May.
Nice. How many films do you guys show at the film festival?
So fortunately, the last 2 years, we have had over 1,200 submissions every year.
Ooh.
And we select 10 for our screening.
Wow.
Which is, it's helpful that we have our online component, Film Fridays, that allows us to showcase even more films for filmmakers who might not be able to make it to New York City or might be just close to being ready to being selected for our screening. But we choose 10 for our official screening.
Wow.
Yeah.
And why would you say, film is a way of expressing, maybe what can't be expressed verbally or physically, but why is it important? How does film, go hand in hand with mental health and just health in general?
Yeah, film, particularly for young filmmakers, I think is really great because it's already formatted so much into the way that they're taking in information throughout their day, on their phones, on social media. So film and video is a really great way to communicate important messages, such as mental health, because it's already built into their day. And then for folks that are older or young at heart, it's very easy for us to take in information that is through film as well. Film allows for these filmmakers to communicate things that might be very deeply personal, that they may have a hard time putting words around. Occasionally, we have filmmakers that are submitting things that they made as a class project that just ended up being really successful. So
Wow.
some of these filmmakers are discovering talents that they never even knew that they had, and we're fortunate to see their films.
Wow. And why is it important that we give our youth, especially like black and brown youth, underserved youth like such here in the Bronx, a platform just to express themselves? They may not be able to make it to Netflix or to the bigger networks, but just to know that they have something locally here. Talk about that.
Yeah, luckily for us, we're able to provide these experiences to underserved young people that may be interested in a future in the film industry, or may be interested in a future as an actor or a producer or a set designer. And you're right, it's very rare that those young people have resources to get to places like Netflix or a full production company. This is a great way for them to practice, for them to become connected to other filmmakers and other people who may have insight into the industry. So it can be a launching pad for them to move from what could start as a class project into an internship. Some of our alumni are currently working in production here in New York. We have an alumni that's actually a writer in LA on a successful TV show. So there's all kinds of opportunity to help link these young people with the industry that they're passionate about and to get them into jobs that they're destined for.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 1,200 submissions, and then you get narrow it down to about 10.
Yes.
What are some of the qualities that you see within the film that make the cut? Whether it be camera shots, whether it be the story in general, the acting. What are some of the things that you guys look for that makes it worthy to be in a film festival?
So our basic criteria are typically that they are based in New York, near New York, or that they're within an area that we could easily transport them to New York. We are very fortunate to host our filmmakers, so we fly them in for the festival. So we're flying folks in from all over the place. Some are easier to fly in than others. So our criteria are that they're reachable, but that also that they, like I mentioned, that they're between 15 and 25, that the subject matter of their film is clear, that it's clearly about mental health, queerness, race, social justice, mental health advocacy. But beyond that, we just look for passionate storytelling. We look for young filmmakers who are linked to what they're discussing, and you can really viscerally see and feel in their films when it's clear that it's subject matter that's important to them. Beyond that, we look for sophistication, we look for style, we look for uniqueness, and I'm very proud to say that all 10 of our films that were selected this year are distinctly unique and very special.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what can attendees expect on the day of? Is it going to be like a theater type of vibe? Like, are you going to have popcorn, some snacks?
Yes. So the screening is on Saturday, May 16th at Village East Cinema, which is in the East Village. It's in Angelica Theater from 7 to 9 p.m. What they can expect is a lovely red carpet with a step and repeat for photo opportunities.
Nice.
They can expect free Changing Minds merch and concessions. We allow and offer refreshments to our audience. And then they can look forward to a screening of all 10 films and then a question and answer portion with all of the filmmakers.
Nice.
It's a great evening. It's a night out at the movies, but for the cost of one film, you can see 10. Our tickets are $10, so very affordable and accessible. And yeah, it's a great night on the town.
That is so dope.
Yeah.
And just you being into film yourself, what are some of your favorite genres, and what has stuck out to you during the film festival? A moment that you may have watching the film that either made you cry or made you sympathize with the film.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to be on the selection committee. I go through not all of the 1,200 films, but a great portion of them.
Yeah.
I'm very overwhelmed by emotion seeing the work that these young people make, how clearly they articulate their thoughts and experiences. Personally, I think the thing that sticks with me the most is the animated films that we get. Some of the best animation that I've seen.
Wow.
And I'm unfortunately I'm not young enough to be eligible for our festival. I'm a little older, and in my time I haven't seen animation quite like what we're seeing. So to see this intersection of really sophisticated animation that is so tedious and requires so much work and talent, intersecting with something as important as mental health has been really, really incredibly valuable to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite part about the film festival or the whole process?
I just love working with the filmmakers. I love hearing their thoughts. I also love noticing how they deal with logistics, answering emails, being on time, These people are showing up, and they're showing up as their best selves for something that means a lot to them. And I think that that helps us to really spread and casualize the conversation around mental health and make it something that is more accessible to their age group and to our community.
Wow, well, thank you so much, Michael.
Yeah,
congratulations on 11 years
Thank you,
of
thank
it.
you.
For more information, you can visit the website at communityaccess.org. Stick around, we'll be right back.
What's up, creative family? Discover your voice with Bronxnet community media classes. Are you ready to bring your ideas to life? At Bronxnet, we offer television production classes for community members ages 18 and over, empowering you to share your vision with the world. Get certified in field production, in-studio production, and our new exciting addition, podcast production. Once certified, you can create your own show to air on one of our 6 TV channels. It all starts with our free Unleash Your Ideas Masterclass, designed to help you plan your show idea and set you up for success on your production journey. This class is offered at the beginning of each month for your convenience. Our dedicated Bronxnet team is here to support, encourage, and uplift you every step of the way. Join us and become a part of the creative force that engages and inspires the Bronx community and beyond. Sign up today and start your media journey with Bronxnet. Visit bronxnet.org/education to learn more and register. Let's create something amazing together.
Welcome back. What started as a creative outlet has grown into a purpose-driven business with a mission to make wellness and art accessible to all. Paige's Candle Co. creates handmade, eco-friendly products while also giving back workshops to underserved communities across New York City. Joining us to share her story and how she's using her business to make an impact is founder Paige Graham. Paige, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, tell me a little bit about your business and the candles and things like that. How did you come about it with this?
So Paige's Candle Co. is a boutique candle manufacturing company, and we specialize in handmade soy wax candles and natural products, and a portion of sales are allocated to donate candle making workshops to inner city communities. Nice. We also specialize in corporate team building candle making workshops.
Nice. And how did you get into candle making?
So I'm self-taught. I've been candle making for about 13 years, and the business is 9 years old. And I decided one day that I wanted to have a creative business while also giving back to my community. And so I was like, oh, let me try candle making. And that is basically how it started. At the time, there really weren't any like YouTube videos, not to age me too much, but it was a lot of research, and I'm grateful that I stuck with it and I developed my company.
Wow, and how did you come up with a smell like this? This is called jasmine and honeysuckle. How did you come up with like a flavor like this or a smell like this, matter of fact, a fragrance? And what is inside of this?
So I work with all natural soy wax and fragrance oils that are free of harsh chemicals, and I use a cotton wick. So I specialize in eco-friendly materials. When I develop an aroma, I usually get inspiration from life experiences, or I just make it up, honestly, in my brain. So most candle makers on the market will buy a fragrance oil, let's say apple, and then rebrand it as Apple or whatever name that they choose to name their candle. I specialize in blending different oils together and building on the aroma and then making the candle. So for jasmine and honeysuckle, it's our third bestseller, and I wanted something super floral but not too powdery, because I find like some floral aromas can give you a headache. And because it's clean ingredients and I wanted a little earthy tone to it, I added Palo Santo at the base. And so I developed that for a nice summer aroma. And on the candle, I have a top, middle, and base note, which basically are the ingredients. They're not really layered. It just shows what aromas are most prominent in the candle versus the notes that are muted.
Wow. So when you say and share label top, middle, base, that means like this. So jasmine, you're gonna get on the top of the smell once you light it, and then once you get to the middle, it's a different smell.
No, it's not a different smell. Those are the blends. It's kind of like, I don't know if you're a wine drinker, but when people drink wine, they'll say, oh, I have notes of cherry and plum. It's really breaking down the aroma itself and knowing what builds the aroma, since I mix the aromas. It's almost similar to cooking, where you have all of these different flavor profiles in cooking. I basically translate that to the nose.
Wow, so you've been doing this for 13 years.
Yes.
How long have you had your business?
The business turned 9 this year.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. It has definitely been an experience. I've learned so much, and I'm very grateful for the success that I've had.
Nice. And what's your proudest moment? Like, what's your proudest moment that you just was like, I'm gonna keep going with this?
So for the company, it took me about a year to design the label. I'm not a designer, so it was a lot of experimentation with just the design alone, and then also with developing the aroma. And my proudest moment was my first market, where I sold tons of product, because I received live feedback as I was selling.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, I really do have something here, because when you're making your own products, I mean, I'm biased, I like them, but I don't know if other people would like them. And so when I saw that many people were purchasing the product, I was like, oh, I'll keep going. And that basically has been my inspiration the entire time.
Wow. And what inspired you to get back to communities? I know we mentioned earlier about you providing workshops for underserved communities. Talk about that.
I'm originally from the Bronx, and I'm from an inner city community. And when growing up, I didn't really have a lot of access to art programs, and I was so grateful for the nonprofits in my area that gave back. So at the time, I attended a lot of free programs like ceramics and photography, and it always made an imprint in my life, because I didn't realize until I attended those programs that I can pursue not just an interest, but a career in the arts, and that has always been meaningful. So I always knew that when having my business, I wanted to do the same for people, whether they're youth or adults, to explore their interests. Now, I'm not saying that everyone's going to be a candle maker when they take one of my workshops, but at least to see that it's possible to pursue a different interest.
Nice. And just tell me, these workshops take place here in the Bronx?
All over. Well, I shouldn't say all over. Not in Staten Island. Sorry, Staten Island. But Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, and to various nonprofit organizations or community businesses. And I typically aim to donate a candle making workshop each quarter.
Nice.
And what tends to fund the workshops the most, besides online sales, are corporations that book team building workshops for their employees.
Wow. Okay, nice. And when we get to the workshop, what are we expecting? Are you just teaching it all by yourself, or do you have aid? Do you have help doing it? What's the breakdown of a workshop?
I'm typically the instructor, and I have a team with me, depending on how large the workshops are. So for example, if it's for corporations, we can service up to 100 participants.
Wow.
The nonprofit, since I donate typically each quarter, we cap it at 30. Everything is donated, and participants make 3 soy wax candles. They're about 4 ounces each to make in the workshop and take home the same day. So they dry in time. The workshop is about 2 hours, and participants make candles, and they decorate them with flowers and make candles. They create very unique names. So a workshop that I've done recently, it wasn't donated, but I taught a workshop at NYU, and they had the best names, like Soy Lounge, Taylor's Wick, Bernie Sanders, like Bernie, like Bernie. So it's always a blast.
Wow. And just tell me about the natural product use. Why natural products? Of course, obviously it's more healthy for us, but when you burn a candle, what's the difference between a natural candle versus a candle that's not natural?
It's so important. So natural candles tend to be more expensive. So I use soy wax, which burns clean. So what that means is that when the candle is burning, it doesn't produce black soot. So I'm not sure if you've ever seen black soot that's on the perimeter of the jar, or when it's like creating soot on the walls, that's also going into your nose and your lungs, and definitely don't want that. And everything is handmade. And with using natural oils, we want to make sure that we're not exposed to harmful chemicals that can cause respiratory issues or even cancer. So using natural products, it's not only great for the environment, but it's just really healthy for people burning it and making it.
Wow, you know, when we think about candle lighting, we think about, like, you know, the romance and things like that. How does candle also soothe you just, you know, when you had a stressful day, you just want to chill and relax?
Aromatherapy is really important. So for calming aromas like lavender, which is very classic, it really helps to unwind. But then there's aromas that can invigorate you. So if you're working from home or if you're about to do a workout, citrus can offer like a bright aroma. It's kind of like feng shui, but for the nose. So candles can really aid in relaxing you, energizing you, and offering a peace of mind. And what's really interesting about fragrance is a lot of people can have nostalgic moments where they smell a candle and it reminds them of something that they love. So candles are really dynamic in that way.
Nice. And how much do your candles sell for?
So I have 3 different sizes. The 4 ounces are 21. These are the 9 ounce. They're 29. And I have my jumbos. They're 16 ounces and they are 49. And the great thing about soy, they last 3 times as long as a paraffin candle. Paraffin is the wax that's been on the market and has been worked with since the 1800s. Soy is actually kind of new. It's been around since the 90s, but it lasts 3 times as long. So with the candles, especially if you burn it for no more than 4 hours, you'll still have the aroma permeate for almost 24 hours.
Wow.
So while the cost, you're like, oh, that's more expensive than what I would normally spend, it lasts way longer. So you're really getting a lot of bang for your buck.
Wow. And you know, just in 9 years, how have you shifted from when you started to now? You know, maybe social media platforms, the way you advertise, and just the way you go about your business in general.
More patience.
Okay.
When you enter business, you don't know what you don't know until you're in it. And so I've definitely increased revenue by utilizing advertising vehicles like Meta ads, Google ads. I've became more studious. That's something that I really enjoy about business, is that you're always learning. And so within the 9 years, I've definitely increased my skill set. But with that, like I've mentioned, the patience is, in my opinion, the most important.
Nice. Thank you so much, Paige, for being
Thank
here.
you.
For more information, you could visit the website at paigescandleco.com and follow her on Instagram at paigescandleco. We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any parts of today's show, you can catch the Cablecast on Optimum Channel 67, Verizon Fios 2133, or watch anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Rena Valentine on Friday. I'm Kyrie Moody. Stay safe and stay blessed.